Matrix, the phenomenon, has hit. And part of that phenomenon, Atari hope, will be the game Enter the Matrix. It was always going to be a big ask that the game be good enough to withstand the extra scrutiny it will surely attract, and it's a big ask for any game developer. To make a game that captures a fantasy world not yet filmed when design began, Pt2of2 to use some of those same actors from the film and use them in filming sequences for the game in parallel with the movie. And it's a challenge to make sure it's ready when the movie plays. Big ask for anyone, so they signed up Dave Perry, a famous game designer who has been resting on his laurels since the heady days of Earthworm Jim on the Sega Mega Drive. Dave's famous for making games that are ambitious, take forever to complete, and aren't particularly good. While the enormous responsibility of making the Matrix game has its drawbacks, Dave Perry can't complain, as he's riding off the back of the biggest marketing budget in the world to sell his game, and he was handed on a platter the coolest characters, events and environments in town, stuff that's red hot, that everybody loves. So it's a shame that Enter the Matrix isn't amazing. It's certainly not a gamer's game, nor is it something that feels particularly movie-like either. It's a typical Dave Perry platform game. You have two characters to play, Niobe and Ghost. They've spiced it up a little bit by pretty much making it two separate games within one, depending on which character you select. If you play Niobe, the game is driving and fighting. If you play Ghost, it's a shooting and fighting game. Needless to say, if they had Neo and Trinity as the playable characters, it would be all that much more Matrixy, and a far better game for it. Why they aren't there is beyond me. However, the actors that are in the movie do their bit. The deal is that in between the gameplay sequences you get lengthy, sometimes cinematic sequences. It's like the movie though, fast bit, boring bit. The action sequences, that's the good stuff that you get to do. Then you have to sit through 10 to 15 minutes sometimes of acted sequences. Now sometimes it's good, sometimes it's boring. For the most part it's steady, solid, monotonous monologue. And it's true that there are bits in the game that you won't see in the movie that bring in the whole universe as a tied-in complete thing, but ask yourself, is it really worth playing dozens of hours to see those little tidbits?
Just received an emergency broadcast from the Logos. She did it. Yes, sir. The last transmission of the Osiris.
This is Thaddeus, captain of the Osiris. It is 1803 on 1214, and I fear this will be our last transmission. Less than 2 hours ago, we were pinned between two search units near BZ-218. We tried to outrun them on the surface when our sensors went completely berserk. We didn't believe what our equipment was telling us until we ran smack into the middle of it. An army. Their army. It's massive. Hundreds of times the size of anything we fought.
The gameplay is where it's all at, and the problem is the action is often tedious and repetitive, with endless running through corridors, shooting and spinning around to places. You jump off walls and do your kickboxing shooting. It's very much reminiscent of Die Hard Trilogy, another movie title, in that you've got a choice of 3 different ways of playing: driving, fighting and shooting. Now, Die Hard Trilogy was famous for being a movie title that wasn't that good, and I do hope this doesn't happen to Enter the Matrix, which is a little better, but not by much. The satisfaction comes from mixing up bullet time and real time with great effect. It's easy to pull off amazing looking moves that are all very Matrixy, satisfying stuff. The game's producers and marketeers insist that the game be played through twice to appreciate everything. Well, that's true. Playing a different character means access to different parts of a map. Sometimes the differences are small, sometimes it really does feel like a whole new game experience.
It's here! I found the exit!
This game was certainly developed with the console in mind first. The PC version is a tragedy. The control system is a finger bender, and the 3D engine a major barrier to enjoying the game. On the console it's much more playable, especially with the benefit of a control pad, so that's where it belongs, and that's no big surprise. Now, Atari, formerly known as Infogrames, have very high hopes for Enter the Matrix. Regardless of how good or bad it is, this game is always going to sell its little arse off. At best, this is an acceptable game. It gets a pass mark. It's certainly not great. But who cares? It's the Matrix.
Game on.